Hey people, so this is the day after I cleaned my garden up. I wanted to show you guys some things, do a quick run through of what I got going on here, and I want to talk about composting. I really wanted to do another composting video. Um, this is going to kind of replace my previous videos, okay? So real quick run through. You guys can see this used to be my herb area, and I have moved now my berries to this area. So my berries used to be along that wall over there, but now that's the herb section. Okay. I still keep my 3 beds, and the way I do my 3 beds, the more you grow, you start to realize, you know what are we actually going to eat? So there's certain things that I will grow as an experiment, and then there's certain things that's like, actually I never will eat that, so what's the point? Okay. So that's how I kind of grow now. I still like to experiment every now and then, but I'm saying all that to say this right here is my salad bowl bed. I always create one bed for what I call a salad bowl. So that's going to be lettuce, it's going to be Swiss chard, and then normally I'm going to have some spinach in there. And that's kind of what we have going on here. Okay, so the spinach I always grow from seed. So, and I always grow from seed, not indoors. I always grow from seed in the actual bed. So that's what's going on here. These berries here are my blueberries. This is their second year blueberries. So I may not get a bunch this year, may have to wait a whole nother year, but these are sprouting very well. Season is starting off and they're doing really well. These containers here are blackberries and raspberries. Now, if you remember my photos from last year, I had blackberries and raspberries in here and they were growing ridiculous. Blackberries and raspberries are what they call brambles, I think it's called. Can't remember, but they vine out and go crazy. And it would have taken a whole lot of work to actually trellis those, keep an eye on them, because that's the way they also propagate. They send their vines out. As soon as they find some dirt, they drop roots down, and then they try to grow from there and spread all over the place. So they were starting to spread all over my garden. They were growing in, they were setting up roots inside my mulch and doing everything. So I was like, okay, this is not going to work. So I took up all those brambles and I was just going to leave it alone. But I happened to be in a store and found these type of raspberries and blackberries. They're bush type. They're a bushing type. So they don't send their roots out. They just grow really fat. And I was like, oh my God, that's perfect. So I'm trying these out. So these are basically young, first year plants. So, you know, I won't expect to get anything off of them until, you know, the next 2 years. But I want to see how they grow and how fat they go. So that's what these are. Okay, so this year I'm also growing fruit trees. Now I was going to plant them out in here, but it's just not going to work. So I'm actually going to, I put them in these big pots. These are Honeycrisp apples, this one here and that one here. Honeycrisp apples. Last year I told you guys I tried the lemons and limes. Those things don't belong up in my area, and this winter came, killed them, and they take a whole lot. You could get away with it, but you have to take them in the house when it get cold, bring them back out when it gets hot, and all that kind of stuff. Nobody has time for all that. So I'm growing trees that grow in this area. And you want to do that if you want to try growing trees. So let me show you. This is a Honeycrisp apple, right? See how much I got them for. So these are babies. They won't grow for another, I won't get any fruit off of these till another maybe 2 or 3 years. But what you want to do when you're doing stuff like that, you check not the spacing, but the cold hardiness. Now you see it's cold hardy zones 4 through 8. I'm zone 7, and it's down to negative 30 to 20 degrees Fahrenheit. So these things can handle the cold weather, and so I am growing those instead of growing something that belongs down south like lemons and limes. This one here is a peach, also for this area, and this one here is a plum for this area. Okay, back to my beds. This is a collard green patch, and this is going to be my kale patch. I eat a ton of kale, and so I wanted to grow a lot of it. We also eat collards, so that's why I was saying you want your bed, you want to grow the what you eat the most. Grow a lot of it, and that's how I'm going from now on. Okay, so in this area over here, and this is my favorite mint, which is called sweet mint. It's actually, I was going to wait to buy a new plant because from last year, but I started noticing it started growing again. So I'm like, oh my goodness. So I left it alone, just put a little fertilizer in there, and I'm just gonna see if it actually, they all really sprout up. I saw some green, so I'm hopeful. I went and bought another mint. Last year I had grew lemon balm, didn't really like the lemon balm, didn't have enough flavor for me. This kind of mint is interesting. This is called a strawberry mint, which is amazing. This thing here, I'm getting rid of it. And then that's cilantro, that is flat parsley, and that is curled parsley. Okay, in here, I'm trying something new this year. I'm growing ginger. So, yeah, my wife and I, we were using a lot of ginger recently, making teas, detox waters, all kinds of stuff. And so I was like, hey, I wonder if I can grow it. And so that's my experiment for this year, growing the ginger. And that's about it for right now, guys, because I haven't planted my summer veggies yet, but I do have, I'm going to be using these and all those containers here. I probably are going to put it in different spaces. And I am actually thinking about putting another raised bed right here in this area, like a long, maybe 12 foot by 2 foot raised bed, and putting some kind of trellis system up on my gate there, and have things to grow up like cucumbers and some melons and some other things like that. So I'm just using this, I'm kind of working out in my brain how I'm going to do all of that. Okay, so that's just a quick oh, and for those who may ask, this thing here is just a tree. It's not something that grows fruit on it or anything. So that's what I got going on this summer so far. Well, this growing season so far. And of course it'll expand later when I fill up these things and get them all moved up. I have a couple new varieties of tomato that I'm growing this year, and we'll see what's going on. Okay, so stay tuned, because I'm about to do another video explaining my compost system over there, and just giving you guys the instruction on how to compost and why it's important to compost. All right, guys, peace.